Isn't that nice? That's amazing.
So people, they said, what are you talking about? You are coming from Mars or something like that. And today is very different because people, they started to think about the background of the idea. They started to think about things they didn't know, it is possible. And I think that Daniel Hani and his team has made so good work, so good thing about giving more about the background of this idea. So people, they are really they are into field. They think about it, and I will be pleased today, whatever it is, result it is. I am already pleased to see it's a historical day for Switzerland. Yes, it's human history, and I would say it's the dignity of humankind which is very important to find back. So this is not only an idea, this is a real manner to bring it back to humankind. So I hope for everybody, the whole world, it's going to be a good result. That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Me too.
Good.
Basel-Stadt 36%.
This is the main point. We have democracy, and some people who signed our proposal, our initiative, said, "I'm not for an unconditional basic income, but I'm for a discussion about it." So, to vote on something, to have democracy, does not mean only to decide black or white, and to fight and have competition between anything. It is to build a meaning, to deepen thoughts. This is democracy, a democratic process to come to a new view. And not only to come to a yes or no, but to come to more consciousness, to develop society by the ideas of the people in the society. So in Germany, for example, you have a democracy too, but there's no mentality that the people are really the sovereign. So the government is a sovereign. It's a bit like a king with democratic choice. And in Switzerland, it's really seriously to say the population is a sovereign.
But it's time to export.
It's time to export, and I think together with this idea of an unconditional basic income and the public vote, the public initiative, this exports the thought and idea of democracy again to other countries, because you can realize that you can't act for anything without direct democracy. For example, in Germany there are many people who are very interesting, brilliant people arguing for an unconditional basic income, but they can do nothing. And we have this brilliant point that we can make a people's initiative. And with that, we can do something and we can bring it in the public discussion. Even if we don't can change the constitution, maybe, when we have not the majority, but it is in the brain, it is in the words, it is in the discussion. And that is something what brings a society to a movement, to develop the meaning and the consciousness. And that's, I get, that is necessary for other countries too. And you see, democracy was a fight to come to democracy. That was a fight. And now it's 100 years old, 50, 60 in different countries. And if you don't work on such an idea, it goes back. And it becomes again a kind of monarchy or a kind of mafia state. So you have to work on it. You have to take care on it. And to have to renew and rethink and refresh it. And you have to develop it, because time is going on. And if you don't develop democracy and develop human rights really, then it goes back. And it's only a few, it's a good meaning, but it means nothing.
The Five Star Movement was created because a lot of people in Italy couldn't be part of the policy and making the process of decision, the decision process. And there were a lot of people that thought that another world was possible. A world without, where people could decide about ourselves in the future, where nature could be protected, where water and other things could be protected by industries, something like that, where everybody could have the right to use internet to speak with other people, where everybody could have a live dignitely, without poverty. And there were a lot of people that have some dreams, but the politics didn't listen to them. And we understand that the problem was that they live in a castle, closed. They don't listen to the people, because they were the solution, but they didn't want to use that then, just because they are afraid to lose the power to control the society. And we study a lot. We look in what was going on in other countries. We live near Switzerland, and we, for example, we saw that there were the possibility to put people together, to decide together. It was not a dream, because there was a country there where that was going on, or California or Oregon in United States. We saw that there were countries that were making some experiments like basic income, and these experiments started going right, and have a lot of were successful. So why don't prove this? In Italy we have a great problem with the press, because press and TV are not free, are controlled by politics, are paid by some ways by the politics. We have Berlusconi that control a part of TVs, is the owner of the right party, and the government control the public TV, so every TVs are controlled. And so we decided to ask to the politics something, like with the referendum in 2007 and 2008, but they didn't listen to us. So we have no choice. We decide to create our movement and to enter into the institution, into the parliament, to do our law. The law that we are asking to the politics. And now we are here. We are here and we have we decide to have one main focus on our activity. Introduce direct democracy in Italy, and then disappear, because we have the will to give power back to people.
Today, about 90% of our money is issued by commercial banks, and only about 10% actually comes from the central bank itself, namely notes and coins. And this poses a lot of different problems, because you see that most money that is issued by banks does not support the real economy and actually create real growth within the economy. But about 80% or 4/5 of this money that banks can issue out of nothing actually directly flows into the financial system. And the problem here is that most of this money that flows into the financial system would again then create speculative bubbles. With Vollgeld Initiative, this is all about to change, because we want the monetary system in Switzerland again work for the needs of the people and the real economy. Because if the Swiss National Bank was the only institution to issue all the money in Switzerland, so besides notes and coins, also the electronic money, then we could make sure that the money in Switzerland again mostly flows into the real economy. Money is not issued as a debt. This is something you have to understand. Because money can, or it doesn't have to be a debt, it can also be created debt-free and spent into circulation not by a commercial bank, but by a central bank. We finished in last December 2015. That was the date when we actually handed in the collection of signatures. That was like a big milestone for us, because we could just, it was like a relief for us, and it was an achievement, and we could be proud of this, because, like I said, we were just a small group of people with no money, basically, who threw in all their will, all their free time, and all their brain efforts to make it happen. I think it's actually important for people from all over the world, not only from Switzerland, to also support our campaign, because in the long run they could only benefit from it, because once Vollgeld Initiative, or let's say a sovereign monetary system, is installed in Switzerland, this would also have a big effect, or it would send a big message out there into the world. Although we in Switzerland, as probably the only country in the world, have the opportunity to decide, to make those initiatives direct democratically, I think also all people all over the world can be inspired by this way of designing something new and designing something that is fresh. And so I think it's important for those people to give something to us to get something back in the future.